what is shaping up to be one of the most challenging winter storm forecasts we've seen this season. Major disagreements between the models, especially concerning the track and intensity across the eastern United States. We were going to break down the central U.S. situation first, then move eastward through the Appalachians and into the Mid-Atlantic, and then I want to geek out a bit about the atmospheric dynamics that are making this forecast so difficult. Let me be clear about something up front. We're still trying to iron out critical details, and I am going to be transparent about where the uncertainty lies. Let's start with what we know with high confidence. Winter storm watches extend from San Antonio, Texas, transitioning northward through Dallas-Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, then up through Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, extending into Louisville, Cincinnati, Charleston, West Virginia, all the way through the D.C. corridor, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and into portions of New York and New England. That teal-colored watch area covers an enormous swath of the country. Now, the purple zones you are seeing, those are ice storm warnings. Those have been issued from Austin, Texas, extending toward Kerrville, then a separate area from Shreveport, Louisiana, pushing into northern Louisiana and southern Arkansas. We're also seeing ice storm warnings pop up for portions of Mississippi around Jackson, extending into western Alabama. Here's what's fascinating. The National Weather Service has expanded these warnings northward into Georgia, now extending past Atlanta and into South Carolina past Columbia. This tells me they are seeing something in the data that suggests this ice threat is more significant than initially anticipated. For the pink zones, those are winter weather advisories. You are seeing those from Corpus Christi, Beaumont, all the way through Lafayette, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, extending through Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Gulfport, then northward through Tupelo into western Tennessee around Clarksville, and portions of southern Kentucky around Bowling Green and Paducah. The fact that these advisories extend so far south is notable. We don't often see winter weather advisories reaching the Gulf Coast. Now, let's talk about what's already happening on the ground, because this system is already producing impacts. I've got reports of 3/4 of an inch of ice accumulation southwest of Hall Summit, Louisiana, and this is just the beginning. We are seeing sleet accumulations of 1 inch near Shreveport, 1/2 inch reports scattered across northern Louisiana, and 0.8 of an inch of freezing rain in multiple locations. These are significant accumulations, and we're only in the early stages of this event. Here's where the forecast gets complicated. And I want to spend some time on this because understanding the model differences is crucial to understanding the range of possible outcomes. The European model and the GFS are showing two fairly different solutions, and I think the truth is probably going to land somewhere in between these extremes. The European model is more aggressive with the northern extent of precipitation. It's showing the main shield of precipitation extending much further north, bringing significant snow to Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, then eastward through Detroit, Grand Rapids, Lansing, and into portions of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The European has snow accumulations of 6 to 12 inches for these areas, with timing beginning Friday evening around 8 p.m. for Chicago, continuing through Saturday afternoon. Detroit sees snow beginning around midnight Friday night, continuing through Saturday evening. The GFS model, on the other hand, keeps the main precipitation shield further south. In the GFS solution, Chicago sees maybe 2 to 4 inches, and the heaviest snow stays focused from southern Illinois through Indiana and Ohio. The GFS is drier and faster overall. It moves the system through more quickly, which would be better news for power restoration efforts. Let me show you what I mean with specific cities. For Indianapolis, the European model shows snow beginning Friday evening around 7 p.m., transitioning to a mix of sleet and freezing rain by midnight. Then back to snow Saturday morning with total accumulations of 8 to 12 inches of snow plus a 1/4 inch of ice. Peak intensity Saturday morning between 6 a.m. and noon. The GFS shows a similar start time but transitions more quickly through the mix with totals of 4 to 8 inches and less ice accumulation. That's a significant difference. For Columbus, Ohio, the European is showing snow beginning around 9 p.m. Friday, continuing through Saturday afternoon with 10 to 14 inches possible. The GFS shows 6 to 10 inches with the system moving through faster. Cincinnati falls right in that tricky zone where we could see primarily snow, or we could see a significant ice component depending on exactly where that warm nose sets up in the atmosphere. I am not fully convinced by either solution right now. I think we need to see how the next few model runs handle this. Now let us walk through the central U.S. in detail, because this is where we re-seeing the most complex precipitation type issues. Blue is snow, pink is freezing rain, orange is sleet. I am going to repeat that throughout because keeping track of precipitation types is critical for this event. San Antonio, Texas, you restarting to see precipitation Friday afternoon around 3 p.m., beginning as sleet, transitioning to freezing rain by 6 p.m. Friday evening. This continues through Saturday morning with peak intensity. Friday night between midnight and 4 a.m., accumulations of 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. Temperatures holding in the upper 20s to low 30s. The precipitation tapers off Saturday afternoon around 2 p.m. Austin, Texas. Very similar timeline. Precipitation begins around 4 p.m. Friday, starting as sleet, quickly transitioning to freezing rain. URI under an ice storm warning, and I think that S warranted, expecting 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of ice accumulation. This is going to create significant tree damage and power outages. The precipitation is heaviest Friday night into early Saturday morning. Dallas-Fort Worth. This is interesting because you rewrite on that snow to ice transition line. Starting Friday evening around 6 p.m., beginning as snow. By midnight, you retransitioning to sleet and freezing rain as slightly warmer air moves in aloft. Saturday morning could see a transition back to snow as colder air wraps around. Total accumulations of 3 to 5 inches of snow plus 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. This is a messy forecast, and honestly, a shift of 20 miles north or south in the track changes your forecast significantly. Houston, you on the southern edge of this. Light freezing rain, possible Friday night, mainly north and west of the city center. Accumulations of a light glaze up to 1/10 of an inch. The main concern for you is the cold air following this system. Waco, Tyler, Longview, Texas. You are in the heart of the ice accumulation zone. Freezing rain beginning Friday evening, continuing through Saturday morning. Expecting 1/2 inch to potentially 3/4 of an inch of ice. This will create dangerous travel conditions and widespread power outages. Trees will come down. Lubbock, Amarillo, Texas Panhandle. You are in the snow zone. 6 to 10 inches expected beginning Friday afternoon, continuing through Saturday. This is more straightforward frozen precipitation, all snow, El Paso. You are on the far western edge, 2 to 4 inches of snow Friday evening into Saturday morning, Oklahoma City, starting as snow Friday evening around 7 p.m. 4 to 8 inches of snow, then a transition to sleet late Friday night. Could see an additional inch or two of sleet accumulation. Precipitation ends Saturday afternoon, Tulsa, Oklahoma, similar to Oklahoma City. Snow beginning around 8 p.m. Friday, 5 to 8 inches, then a transition to sleet. Ending Saturday afternoon, Norman, Lawton, Oklahoma, snow. Friday evening, 6 to 10 inches with some sleet mixing in late Friday night. Little Rock, Arkansas. This is one of the critical zones. Snow beginning Friday evening around 9 p.m., quickly transitioning to sleet and freezing rain by midnight. The European model shows this continuing through Sunday morning. The GFS is drier and has this ending by Saturday evening. Accumulations of 2 to 4 inches of snow and sleet plus 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, Arkansas. More of a snow event for you. 8 to 12 inches expected Friday night through Saturday. Jonesboro, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. In the freezing rain zone. Sleet and freezing rain Friday night through Saturday. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. Shreveport, Louisiana. You're already seeing significant ice accumulation. This continues through Saturday morning. Total ice accumulation of 1/2 to 1 inch is possible. This is an extreme ice event, Monroe, Lafayette, Alexandria, Louisiana. Freezing rain Friday night through Saturday morning, 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice accumulation. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, on the southern edge. Mainly rain, but some freezing rain possible north of the city Friday night. Cold air follows for the weekend. Jackson, Mississippi, sleet and freezing rain Friday night through Saturday. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice possible. Ice storm warning in effect, Gulfport, Hattiesburg, Tupelo, Meridian, Mississippi. Varying amounts of sleet and freezing rain. Southern areas see less, northern areas see more ice accumulation. Memphis, Tennessee. Snow beginning Friday evening around 10 p.m., transitioning to sleet and freezing rain by 2 a.m. Saturday. 3 to 6 inches of snow and sleet plus ice accumulation of 1/4 inch. Ending Saturday afternoon, Nashville, Tennessee. Snow Friday night around 11 p.m., continuing through Saturday morning, 6 to 10 inches possible. May see some sleet mixing in Saturday morning. Knoxville, Tennessee. Snow Friday night, 6 to 10 inches. More of a pure snow event in the higher elevations. Chattanooga, Clarksville, Tennessee. Snow and sleet mix Friday night, 4 to 8 inches combined. Louisville, Kentucky. Snow beginning around midnight Friday night, continuing through Saturday, 8 to 12 inches possible. The European model has a bullseye of heavier snow right over Louisville, Lexington, Kentucky. Snow Saturday morning, 6 to 10 inches. Bowling Green, Owensboro, Paducah, Kentucky. Mix of snow and sleet Friday night through Saturday. 6 to 10 inches combined accumulation. Kansas City, Missouri. Snow beginning Friday evening, continuing through Saturday. 6 to 10 inches expected. St. Louis, Missouri. This is where the European model really lights up. Snow beginning Friday night around 11 p.m., continuing through Sunday morning in the European solution. The GFS is faster, ending by Saturday evening. Accumulations of 10 to 16 inches possible. This could be one of the hardest hit cities. Springfield, Columbia, Joplin, Missouri. Snow, Friday night through Saturday, 8 to 14 inches depending on exact track. Chicago, Illinois. Here, S where the model disagreement really shows up. European model, snow beginning Friday night around 8 p.m., continuing through Saturday afternoon, 8 to 12 inches. GFS model, lighter amounts, 4 to 6 inches, ending by Saturday afternoon. I am leaning toward the lighter amounts right now, but this could easily shift. Springfield, Peoria, Rockford, Champaign, Illinois. Snow Friday night through Saturday. 6 to 12 inches depending on location and which model verifies. Indianapolis, Indiana. We discussed this earlier. European shows 8 to 12 inches with some ice. GFS shows 4 to 8 inches. Snow begins Friday evening. Fort Wayne, Evansville, South Bend, Bloomington, Indiana. Varying amounts of snow Friday night through Saturday. Southern areas may see more sleet mixing in. Columbus, Ohio, 10 to 14 inches possible in the European solution. 6 to 10 inches in the GFS. Snow beginning Friday night around 9 p.m. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Toledo, Dayton, Akron, Ohio. Snow beginning Friday night, continuing through Saturday. 8 to 14 inches possible. Cincinnati is right on that snow ice line and could see significant ice if the track shifts slightly south. Detroit, Michigan. Snow beginning around midnight Friday night, 6 to 10 inches Saturday. Grand Rapids, Lansing, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Snow Saturday morning through Saturday evening, 6 to 12 inches. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Snow Friday evening through Saturday afternoon, 6 to 10 inches. Madison, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Snow Friday night through Saturday, 8 to 12 inches. Now let S move to the eastern U.S., and this is where things get really interesting from an atmospheric dynamics perspective. What S happening here is a classic Miller B setup. We've got low pressure tracking right up the Tennessee Valley. This brings warm air to the surface across Alabama, northern Georgia, but the cold air is absolutely locked in place east of the Appalachian Mountains. This is what meteorologists call cold air damming. Atlanta, Georgia. Rain beginning Saturday morning, possibly starting as sleet north of the city. Temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s. The warm air reaches you. Augusta, Savannah, Athens, Macon, Georgia. Mainly rain Saturday. Cold air follows for the weekend. Charlotte, North Carolina. Here, S, where it gets tricky. You're right in that cold air damming zone. Sleet and freezing rain beginning Saturday morning around 8 a.m. The European model keeps you locked in freezing precipitation through Sunday morning. The GFS transitions you to plain rain by Saturday afternoon. This is a forecast I am not confident about. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice is possible if you stay locked in that cold air. Raleigh, Greensboro, Durham, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Similar situation. Freezing rain Saturday morning, possibly transitioning to rain by afternoon. Ice accumulation of 1/10 to 1/4 inch, Asheville, North Carolina. In the mountains, this is snow, 6 to 10 inches Saturday into Sunday. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Freezing rain Saturday morning, transitioning to rain. Light ice accumulation, Columbia, South Carolina. Sleet and freezing rain Saturday morning. You under an ice storm warning. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice possible. Charleston, Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, South Carolina. Varying amounts of freezing rain to rain Saturday. Richmond, Virginia. This is a critical forecast zone. Sleet and freezing rain beginning Saturday morning around 6 a.m. The cold air damming is very strong here. You could see 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice accumulation. Precipitation continues through Saturday night. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Virginia. Starting as freezing rain Saturday morning, possibly transitioning to rain by afternoon. 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice. Roanoke, Lynchburg, Charlottesville, Virginia. Sleet and freezing rain Saturday morning. Higher elevations see more snow, ice accumulation 1/4 to 1/2 inch in the valleys. Charleston, Huntington, Morgantown, Parkersburg, West Virginia. This is where models are showing a significant ice event. Freezing rain and sleet Saturday morning through Sunday morning. Ice accumulation of 1/2 to potentially 3/4 of an inch. This is combined with snow in the higher elevations, Baltimore, Maryland. Sleet and freezing rain beginning Saturday morning around 7 a.m., possibly transitioning to snow later Saturday. 3 to 6 inches of snow and sleet combined, plus 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice. Frederick, Hagersburg, Maryland. More snow than ice. 4 to 8 inches Saturday. Washington, D.C., Arlington, Alexandria. This is a classic D.C. forecasting headache. Could start as sleet and freezing rain Saturday morning, transitioning to snow by afternoon. 2 to 6 inches of snow plus some ice accumulation. Or it could stay warmer and be mainly rain that transitions to snow. The models are split. Wilmington, Dover, Delaware, snow Saturday morning through Saturday evening, 4 to 8 inches. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, snow beginning Saturday morning around 8 a.m., continuing through Sunday morning, 8 to 12 inches possible. The European model has a significant bullseye here. Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Allentown, Pennsylvania, snow Saturday into Sunday, 10 to 16 inches possible. Pittsburgh might see some sleet mixing in early Saturday. Erie, Scranton, Pennsylvania, heavy snow Saturday through Sunday, 12 to 18 inches possible. Newark, Jersey City, Trenton, Atlantic City, New Jersey, snow Saturday morning through Sunday, 6 to 12 inches. New York City, New York, snow beginning Saturday morning around 9 a.m., 8 to 14 inches possible by Sunday morning. The European model is more aggressive. The GFS keeps you in the 6 to 10 inch range. Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, New York. Heavy snow Saturday through Sunday. 14 to 20 inches possible, with the heaviest amounts in the traditional lake enhancement zones. Hartford, New Haven, Stamford, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Snow Saturday into Sunday, 8 to 14 inches. Boston, Worcester, Springfield, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Snow beginning Saturday afternoon, continuing through Sunday. 10 to 16 inches possible. Could see some mixing at the onset along the coast. Providence, Rhode Island. Snow Saturday afternoon through Sunday. 8 to 12 inches. Manchester, Nashua, New Hampshire. Snow Saturday afternoon through Sunday. 10 to 14 inches. Burlington, Vermont. Snow Saturday through Sunday. 12 to 18 inches. Portland, Lewiston, Bangor, Maine. Snow beginning Saturday evening, continuing through Sunday, 10 to 16 inches. Now, let me geek out about the atmospheric dynamics for a moment, because this is what makes this forecast so challenging and so fascinating. What we're dealing with is a classic phased system. We've got northern stream energy diving southeast across the Great Lakes, and we've got southern stream energy coming out of the desert southwest. These two pieces of energy are going to phase together or combine over the Tennessee Valley. When these systems phase, they can rapidly intensify. Meteorologists call this bombing out. The pressure can drop 15 to 25 millibars in 24 hours. This rapid intensification creates very heavy precipitation rates and strong winds. The second critical piece is that warm nose I mentioned earlier. What's happening is you've got cold air at the surface, locked in place by cold air damming east of the Appalachians. Above that, you've got a layer of warm air being advected northward by southerly flow ahead of the low-pressure system. Then above that, you've got cold air aloft. This creates what we call an inverted temperature profile. When snow falls from the clouds, it falls through that warm layer and melts into rain. But then it falls into the cold air near the surface and refreezes on contact with surfaces. That freezing rain. If the warm layer is deeper, you get sleet, where the rain refreezes into ice pellets before reaching the ground. The exact temperature profile, and therefore the precipitation type, depends on the strength of the cold air damming, the track of the low-pressure system, and how much warm air advection occurs. A 20-mile shift in the low-pressure track can mean the difference between 6 inches of snow and a half inch of ice. The third fascinating piece is the deformation zone. On the northwestern side of this system, where the northern stream and southern stream energies interact, we get a deformation zone. This is where the heaviest snow bands set up. That's why we re-seeing these bullseyes of 12 to 18 inches, potentially 20 inches plus, from southern Illinois through Indiana, Ohio, and into Pennsylvania and New York. The deformation zone acts like a snow-making machine. You get strong lift, you get very efficient precipitation processes, and you get training of snow bands over the same locations for hours. This is what creates the extreme snowfall amounts. There's also a dry slot to watch. As the system intensifies, it can wrap dry air into the circulation, creating a break in precipitation Saturday afternoon for some areas. The European model shows this more prominently than the GFS. If the dry slot verifies, some areas might see a lull in precipitation Saturday afternoon before a secondary round Saturday night. Looking at the snowfall maps, the European model has the main axis of heavy snow extending from southern Illinois through Indiana and Ohio, with a bullseye of over 12 inches where Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia come together, then another bullseye of 16 to 20 inches from central Ohio through western Pennsylvania. The GFS is a bit further south with the heaviest snow across Arkansas and Tennessee and lighter amounts further north. For ice accumulation, both models agree on significant ice from eastern Texas through Louisiana, Arkansas, and into Mississippi. But the European model extends significant ice accumulation 1/4 to 1/2 inch much further northeast through the Carolinas, Virginia, West Virginia, and even into Maryland. The GFS is less aggressive with ice accumulation in these areas. The sleet accumulation maps are showing some concerning bullseyes. We could see 3 to 5 inches of sleet from northern Arkansas into southern Missouri. Then another area of 3 to 4 inches of sleet from West Virginia into southwestern Virginia and southern Maryland. Sleet is heavy. 3 inches of sleet weighs significantly more than 3 inches of snow, and it creates very difficult travel conditions. Let me be clear about the timing as we wrap up. This system begins affecting the central U.S. Friday afternoon and evening. Peak intensity across the central U.S. is Friday night into Saturday morning. The system then tracks northeast, affecting the Ohio Valley and Appalachians Saturday morning through Saturday night. The northeast sees the heaviest snow Saturday afternoon through Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, the system is moving off the coast, but very cold air wraps in behind it. And that brings me to the final critical point. The cold air following this system is extreme. Wind chills Saturday night into Sunday morning will be in the single digits and teens across much of Texas, sub-zero across Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri, and -10 to -30 across the upper Midwest. This cold air extends all the way to the Gulf Coast. Wind chills in the teens are possible for New Orleans and Houston Sunday morning. This extended cold means ice and snow will be very slow to melt. Even with sunshine Sunday and Monday, temperatures may not get above freezing in many locations. This will significantly hamper power restoration efforts. Let me talk about power outages for a moment because this is a critical concern. We're already seeing outages across the affected region. New Mexico is reporting around 10,000 customers without power. Louisiana is at 21,000 and climbing. Texas is over 53,000. These numbers are going to increase substantially as ice accumulates on trees and power lines. When you get 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice on tree limbs, they break. When they break, they take down power lines. It's that simple. The areas most at risk for prolonged outages are those seeing the heaviest ice accumulation. Eastern Texas, northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, Mississippi, and potentially the Carolinas and Virginia if the European model solution verifies. We could be looking at outages lasting days, potentially a week or more in some areas. The challenge with power restoration during an ice storm is multifaceted. First, crews can safely work when ice is actively accumulating. They have to wait for precipitation to end. Second, the cold temperatures following this event mean the ice stays on the trees and lines, making repair work dangerous. Third, the widespread nature of this event means mutual aid crews from other states may be dealing with their own winter weather and unavailable to help. My advice is to prepare now for extended outages if you are in the ice accumulation zones. Charge devices, have flashlights and batteries ready. Make sure you have a way to heat your home safely if power goes out. Never use a generator indoors or in an attached garage. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a real danger during winter power outages. For those of you with livestock or outdoor animals, make sure they have shelter and access to unfrozen water. This cold air is brutal, and animals can suffer quickly in these conditions. Temperature-wise, let me walk you through what to expect over the next several days because this is important for understanding when conditions improve. Saturday morning, temperatures across Texas will be in the teens and 20s. Wind chills will be in the single digits, potentially sub-zero across northern Texas. The Panhandle sees wind chills of -10 to -20. Moving northeast, Oklahoma and Arkansas see temperatures in the teens Saturday morning with wind chills below zero. Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, you are looking at temperatures in the single digits to low teens. Wind chills -10 to -20. The Great Lakes region sees temperatures below zero with wind chills of -20 to -30. This is dangerous cold Saturday afternoon, and this is key. You are not warming up much. Highs across Texas will be in the 20s to around 30 degrees. That's below freezing. Oklahoma and Arkansas, highs in the teens to low 20s. Missouri and Illinois, highs in the teens. This means all the ice and snow that has fallen stays on the ground, frozen solid. Now here's where it gets interesting. Sunday morning, the freeze extends all the way to the Gulf Coast. New Orleans could see temperatures in the low 20s, Houston in the mid-20s. This is rare to see a freeze this far south, and it has implications for infrastructure that's not designed for these temperatures. Sunday afternoon sees a modest warm-up, but only in some areas. Southern Texas gets into the 40s and 50s, which helps melt some ice. But from Oklahoma northward, you are still in the 20s and 30s for highs. The ice and snow remain. Monday morning, another hard freeze. Temperatures drop back down across the entire region. Anything that melted on Sunday refreezes Monday morning. This freeze-thaw cycle is actually worse for trees and power infrastructure than staying consistently frozen. Monday afternoon, we see a more significant warm-up, especially across the southern portions of the affected area. Texas gets into the 50s and 60s. This helps considerably with melting. But the mid-Atlantic and Northeast are still dealing with snow on the ground and temperatures in the 30s. Tuesday morning, yet another freeze across much of the area. But Tuesday afternoon, things finally start to improve more substantially. Temperatures get above freezing across almost the entire affected region. This is when we'll see significant melting and when power crews can really get to work on restoration efforts. The bottom line is you re-looking at several days of frozen conditions across much of the affected area. Plan accordingly. Here's what we know with high confidence. This is a significant winter storm affecting a huge portion of the country. Extreme ice accumulations are likely from eastern Texas through Louisiana and Arkansas. Heavy snow of 12 inches plus is likely from Missouri through Ohio and into the northeast. Very cold air follows for the extended period. Here's what we're still uncertain about. The exact track of the low-pressure system, which affects the rain-snow ice line. The northern extent of heavy snow, where the European and GFS disagree significantly. The duration of the event, with the European being slower and the GFS being faster. The extent of ice accumulation across the mid-Atlantic, which depends critically on how strong the cold air damming is. We're running out of time to nail down these details, but I'll be back tomorrow morning with fresh model data and we'll see which solution is trending. Keep in mind, there's also another potential winter storm the following weekend we need to watch, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. If you'd like a specific forecast for your city, or if you have questions about the atmospheric setup, feel free to leave comments and I'll answer individually as time allows. I'll be monitoring observations closely as this unfolds to see which model solution is verifying. If you found this breakdown helpful, subscribing to the channel would be appreciated. This is the kind of in-depth analysis we provide for significant weather events. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.